Hi, I'm Ben Nelson. I'm a co-founder and the Chief Technology Officer of Lambda School, and today I'm going to talk to you about a common question that we get. How does Lambda School compare to a university? So, a university, 4 years long, typically 2 years of working on generals, then you'll have 2 years of working on classes related to your major. Lambda School, it's 30 weeks long, so 7 months, and it's a deep dive into one specific topic. So with a university, you have lots of generals, you're going to be studying humanities and writing and things like that, in addition to computer science. With Lambda School, it's all focused 100% on computer science. There's pros and cons to both paths, so I'm going to walk you through some of those pros and cons. The first one I'm going to talk about is just the number of hours. So 4 years versus 30 weeks, it seems like there'd be a pretty sharp difference in the total number of hours, and there is, but anyway, we're going to break it down for you so you can see exactly how they compare. So with a university, in a semester, and this is going to vary from university to university, but typically a semester is about 15 weeks long. And so if we're assuming that you're taking 15 credits a semester, which is a pretty good full-time workload, and then spending 2 hours outside of class, for every hour that you're in class, that comes out to 45 weeks in class per week in a semester. So, so you have 15 weeks. And then if you're doing 15 credits, that means 15 hours of class time per week in a semester. So, 15 hours plus the 2 that you're typically spending outside of class for each hour. So that's another 30 hours. So for 15 weeks, we have 45 hours. And then if we multiply that out over 4 semesters for 2 years, so let's look at specifically the 2 years that you're going to spend on your major. So, 4 semesters, so 15 times 45 times 4, and this comes out to 2,700 hours. Okay, and that's give or take, plus or minus. There's a lot of assumptions baked in here, but generally, for 2 years of college, you're going to spend about 2,700 hours studying the content. So now let's break down Lambda School. So with Lambda School, it's 30 weeks long, and we're spending 45 hours in class, and then about 7.5 hours per week outside of class. So that's about 90 minutes a day that we're recommending. So, so that's going to give us 52.5 hours per week for Lambda School. So if we're gonna multiply that by the 30 weeks, that's going to give us close to 1,600 hours. And and again, there's a lot of assumptions baked in here, and really it's we're just trying to get kind of a general approximation, but hours to hours, Lambda School is equivalent to about a year of college. It's just condensed down, and it's you're experiencing it all at once in a more accelerated environment. All right, so now that we've considered the hours and how they match up, I want to talk through another really important concept that most people fail to take into account when they're looking at Lambda School versus university, and it's this idea of opportunity cost. So let's imagine that we have 2 friends who just graduated from high school, and one friend, she's going to go to a university, and we have another friend, she's going to go to Lambda School. So we'll say that the student 1 who's going to Lambda School, she goes and she spends, let's say, a month or 2 getting ready for Lambda School, and then the 7 months while she's in Lambda School, and then let's say it takes her 3 months to find a job. So we'll just round it out to 1 year. So 1 year to get the education, get into a junior developer role, and then let's say that it's an average salary of, or it's a salary of 60K. 60K is a fairly that's That's our average salary for the most rural communities in, not the most, but the rural parts of the United States. So, you know, if you're in these smaller towns out in the Midwest or, you know, Utah, someplace like that, you know, this is around what the salary is going to be, maybe a little bit lower, you know, for a junior developer. If you're in San Francisco, it's going to be, or New York, it's going to be quite a bit higher, you know, maybe around 90K. But anyway, this is a pretty safe assumption. So 1 year, get to a $60,000 a year job, and then after that, let's, you know, so then we have 3 years of wages at 60K. So we have 180K worth of wages, and that's assuming no wage growth. There's probably raises and wage growth, and with 3 years of work experience, you're getting into mid-levels. And even in, you know, smaller places, you'll often see people go from 60K even up to 100K, you know, within that 3-year time span. But we'll keep it conservative and we'll put it at 180K. So now with a university student, you know, so we're spending 4 years and you know, a lot of debt. You know, student loans typically, you know, it depends on what school you go to, but, you know, often you're coming out of it, you know, 4 years later with student loan debt, and you don't have the wages that you would have earned. So that's the idea of an opportunity cost. So in the 4 years of university, it's not just the cost of going to school, but it's also the cost of missed out wages and missed out work experience. So there's no work experience. You know, maybe you had an internship, you know, or something there, but it's nothing as significant as, you know, 3 years of full-time paid work experience. So, I mean, honestly, at the end of this, you know, student one is probably actually going to be doing the job interview for student two. So, you know, student one, you know, maybe didn't have the same social experience that comes from college, and you can argue that maybe there's some well-roundedness or, you know, different things that come. Again, pros and cons, but purely looking at it from the perspective of like work experience with wages, and also hyper-focused, you know, job-focused training. You know, there's a year of, you know, an hours-wise, a year of study that you're missing out here with Lambda School, but I would argue that 3 years of full-time work experience where you're getting paid is going to be a superior education to an extra year of studying, you know, computer science classes in college. Again, a lot of trade-offs, but when we break it down like this, I think Lambda School wins every time. You know, if you're going to go to Stanford or MIT, you know, maybe that changes the equation a little bit. But you know, if you're considering a community college, you know, or something out of state where you're going to take on a lot of student debt, I would look very, very closely at the cost of work experience, the amount of debt that you're going to take on, and you know, and think through it from that perspective. So these are some of the big differences between Lambda School and a university. If you have any other questions, reach out. You can head to our website for more information as well. And yeah, thanks for your time.